My name is Doug Poppa. You all know I'm an independent investigative journalist, former law enforcement officer. I spent 20 years in the casino industry in Las Vegas as an investigator, and then at two properties, director of security, and then director of security and surveillance. So I want to talk about something that was really disturbing that happened several years ago. I'm going to play a video from News 3. It's only about a minute long. And listen to what the lady is saying from News 3. It involves now former Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department police officer Rachel Sorkow. And I think the air conditioner's coming on, so you may get some background noise, but don't worry about it. You should be able to hear it fine, or me fine. It only lasts a couple of minutes. The video is very short. So let's play this video.
Well, Jim, that officer was brought here to the Clark County Detention Center, and this all started as an investigation that started last September. Metro Patrol Officer Rachel Sorkow has been off duty with pay since December. The officer is accused on multiple occasions of using criminal justice information systems to give information to, quote, unauthorized people. Police say Sorkow also recorded citizens on her personal phone, which is a violation of the department's policy. In one of the videos, she's accused of recording someone's private area without them knowing. Sorkow was assigned to the Community Policing Division with the Northwest Area Command. She faces 5 felony counts of misconduct of a public officer, 1 count of capturing the image of the private area of another person, and 1 count of indecent exposure. And that officer is expected to appear in court tomorrow. Reporting live, Renee Santos, News 3.
Renee, thanks.
Okay. This was, I remember this. It was a freaking disgrace what this police officer did. And you saw the screenshot of the press release in that video, and I'm not going to read it because it's basically what the reporter said, but when they put this press release out, Las Vegas Metro Police, on March 12, 2019, they said as a result of the investigation, Rachel Sorkow was arrested earlier today and transported to the Clark County Detention Center, where she faces charges of misconduct of a public officer, felony, 5 counts, capturing the image of the private area of another person, gross misdemeanor, 1 count, indecent exposure, gross misdemeanor, 1 count, because she acts allegedly to somebody that exposed themselves, their genitalia. And then it says booking photo. You saw the photo of her, and like I said, she's a former police officer. In October of 2019, Rachel Sorkow pleaded guilty to 1 count of misconduct of a public officer. Now, I'm going to read some stuff here because this pissed a lot of people off at Metro and a lot of people off in the community, why they had all these charges against her, and she was given a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to 1 count of misconduct of a public officer, which is a felony. But that was in October of 2019. Now, in February 2020, she was sentenced, and she was sentenced to 18 months of probation. She had to do 100 hours of community service and undergo mental health treatment. Yeah, no kidding. And she had to resign from the department, which she did. So she's not a cop anymore. But I'm going to read some of these things that the detective's investigation uncovered during this, because it was a freaking damn disgrace. And I'm just going to read some of the stuff. The detectives also noted in their investigation 19 different instances of Sorkow performing a criminal history inquiry on people for personal reasons. She sent the information to friends inquiring about data, including their own criminal history, romantic partners, roommates, and family members. So 19 times she was accessing the SCOPE system, which is the database to run criminal history checks, and she was doing this for family and friends, and then providing them the information to them that they were asking for their own, their other romantic partners, roommates, and other family members. Ladies and gentlemen, every time she went into that system and accessed and then divulged that information is a separate felony count, as far as I know. okay? 19. She wasn't charged with all those crimes. And I'm going to tell you what sources told me why that is, okay? But this woman, glad she's not holding a badge. She's never had a badge because there's something wrong with her. But anyway, it says one of the videos, authorities alleged, included a recording of a person's genital area filmed without their consent. Through police and phone records, detectives determined Sorkow performed multiple record checks for the man, the report said. That's how it started. Somebody heard somebody getting a criminal check, and they checked, and that's how this started uncovering. They looked at her phone. So anyway, let me go on here. While searching Sorkow's phone, detectives found 7 videos of 4 different people Sorkow recorded while on duty, and at least 2 videos she recorded while with another officer. That's important for something I'm going to get into here. And it says, quote, Sorkow would order these individuals, some of which were handcuffed, all of which were in her control, to perform a wide variety of acts while video records them with her personal cellular phone. So people in her custody, she was telling them to do things, and she was recording it. At least 2 of the people recorded were noticeably impaired, and Sorkow sent the videos to multiple friends and family members, including other Metro police officers. This is from the Detectives Internal Affairs Bureau investigation, okay? Or criminal intelligence actually was involved in this, and I'll tell you where I'm going with this. And then it says, in a video taken in April 2017, she ordered a person who appeared to be a, quote, mentally ill man wearing a dress to dance for her, the report said. In a text message to another police officer about the video, she called the person, quote, shim, a transphobic slur, the report said. The other officer had recorded the person walking and sent that video to Sorkow, according to the police investigation. In a video from November 2017, Sorkow told a male officer to force gummy bears into a handcuffed man's mouth. In the video, Sorkow was heard saying, quote, partners with the community, feeding criminals gummy bears, unquote, a reference to Metro's slogan. The slogan is partners with the community. So she's harassing, making fun of this guy, videotaping this. Freaking disgrace. This is a police officer, not anymore, but at the time this happened, this was, and other cops were involved with her. After Sorkow was dispatched to a potential domestic violence incident in January 2018, she recorded a woman who appeared, quote, heavily intoxicated, and she commented on the woman's weight and told her to expose her stomach, according to the police investigation. Sorkow and a male officer were dispatched in May 2018 after a report of a man exposing himself. Listen to this. At the scene, Sorkow recorded the man, who was handcuffed and appeared intoxicated, telling him to kick a patrol vehicle and expose his genitals through a rip in his pants, according to the police investigation. At one point in the video, Sorkow yells, quote, do it again, while, quoting, zooming in on the man's crotch. She also recorded a conversation with him and used a racial slur. Okay? Where am I going with this? Because, ladies and gentlemen, police sources familiar with this investigation, that's all I'm going to say, who spoke to me, told me that the reason why she was only charged with one charge, and not all these other charges, 19 times accessing information, handing it out to other people, coming from people's criminal history, okay? 5 felony counts. Everything was dropped to just 1 count. She never spent 1 day in jail. She was given probation, and a lot of people in the community at the time were pissed off about it, and so was I, and rightfully so. But I didn't know then what I know now, that you're going to know now, according to police sources. So if Sheriff Lombardo or anybody in Metro wants to come out, the PIO, and make a statement after this podcast airs and says what Doug Poppa's sources are saying is all BS, and they want to comment on this, go right ahead, because my sources say this information is correct. Okay? So I'm going to get to something here in a second. I'm going to put up on the screen. Okay, now listen to this. I was told that after being briefed, remember the criminal intelligence section detectives did this investigation. That's what I was told. And that after being briefed on the Rachel Sorkow investigation, Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo and his undersheriff, Kevin McMahill, ordered the criminal intelligence section through Joey Herring, I think he was a sergeant or lieutenant at the time, he had been a sergeant at the time, he's a lieutenant now, to withdraw 2 additional arrest warrants for 2 male police officers who participated in the misconduct with Sorkow from the criminal intelligence detectives investigation who investigated all the stuff that I just read. That came from their investigation, from their report, okay? And that was made public in the news. But the public didn't get the whole story. So, according to what I was told, Lombardo and McMahill ordered Joey Herring in the criminal intelligence section to basically stop the arrest warrants for 2 male officers who were involved with Sorkow, and you heard what they were doing with her, okay? You heard, you can go back and listen, okay? Who participated in the misconduct with Sorkow based on the Criminal Intelligence Unit's detectives' investigation. Criminal Intelligence, when I was told, felt all 3 officers should be held accountable. But for some reason, Lombardo and McMahill didn't want those 2 male officers getting charged, so they squashed the arrest warrants. Something else is going to be going on with this, too. That kind of bothers me. But anyway, let me continue on here. Their investigative work, the sources who told me, meaning the criminal intelligence detectives' work, was discounted, tongue-twisted, by Lombardo and McMahill, who gave the justification that they would handle the 2 male officers through administrative punishment. And the source told me, like I told you, and this was never disclosed to the public, the sources said. And it wasn't because I never heard about it. Now, put something up on the screen here for a second. This is the front part of, do I have it? Yes, I do. Let me put up on the screen here. Okay. This is a story that was put out by the Las Vegas Sun on March 15th, 2019. And for my audio podcast people say, why do you keep reading what's on the screen? Because they can't see the screen. Okay? Titled Metro. Cops' misconduct included use of racial epithet, filming suspects' genitalia. The Las Vegas Sun reported in their March 15, 2019 article titled Metro, Cops' misconduct included use of racial epithet, filming suspects' genitalia, that the day, this is what they say in their story, that the day of Sorkow's arrest, Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo signed her arrest warrant. Okay? Now, I don't know what that reporter did, but that should have been a red flag right there, because the investigating detective should have signed the arrest warrant, not Lombardo, because Lombardo didn't conduct the internal investigation. Like I said, it was conducted by Criminal Intelligence Unit detectives. So I don't have a copy of that, and I'll explain in a minute why I've tried to get it and I can't get it, because indeed, if that's true, that arrest warrant shows Joe Lombardo's signature on it, the media out here need to look at this. I think some of the media has that, and if that's true, they need to start asking questions why the sheriff signed an arrest warrant for Rachel Sorkow when he did not conduct the investigation, and he needs to explain that. But I don't have that document at this time. I'm not saying I will not have it in the future, okay? But that should have been a red flag to the reporter. Why is Joe Lombardo's signature, like he said in his story, on that arrest warrant? Now, in July of 2021, I found this out from doing my investigation the other day. Sorkow's attorney, remember this is last year, and she's already been, she's on probation, this is July of last year, okay? Sorkow's attorney, Tony Segro, that's SGRO, whose law partner is David Roger, who's the general counsel for the Police Protective Association, the LVPPA, that's the union that represents the rank and file police. So Roger's partner, Tony Segro, July of last year of 2021, according to court records, filed a petition in the 8th Judicial District Court to have Sorkow's court records sealed. And looks like that was done because I can't access any of the records. But hopefully some news people out here have that before it was sealed, and they can, reinvestigate what I'm telling you if they care to do. If they don't care to do it, fine. But hopefully I'll be able to get some records down the road. Now, why was all those charges dropped? Why was she only charged with one count of misconduct of a public official? And by the way, I also checked with the state and the Nevada Commission, it's called the Nevada Commission on Police Officer Standards. They revoked her license, her commission. So she can't be a cop in Nevada. So they pulled her certification, the post-training Police Officer Standards Training Commission. They pulled it. But anyway, everybody was pissed at the time. So was I. Like all these, why was she charged with all this? She didn't even go to jail? They gave her that plea to one count. I was told by sources that a criminal intelligence detective, one of them that worked the case, had somehow screwed up the case. And that was why they had to make the plea deal with Sorkow. And that's what I was told, okay, from sources separate from other sources that would tell me this. So that's what I was told, that's why she ended up with the one single charge. So there you got it, ladies and gentlemen. I just found this out. Remember, I think it was the last podcast, or that was the last one I did. I mentioned former Las Vegas Metro Police Officer Rachel Sorkow. That was the one that was arrested and charged with one felony, and everything else was dropped. And all this stuff with taking pictures of people and their privates and everything. She's a convicted felon. She's no longer a cop. But a source told me the other day, and I verified this, is that when I verify it, I looked at her marriage license. She was on probation for 18 months, starting around February 2020. She's still a convicted felon. But on September 14th or September of 2021, she married a Metro police officer, a guy by the name of Juan Astorga, who's a Metro cop, from what I was told. So people are saying, like, hey, there's a policy, I guess, in the police department that you can't associate with people of ill repute, convicted felons. But this cop married her, okay? And the marriage license does show that they got married on September of 2021. So how does that get out? Because I guess they were telling me about some other stuff that was going on with other cops who got jammed up because people in their families, sisters, somebody with this one guy was married to like a felon or something, and this guy didn't even know it, and they came after him. But they're saying, well, how can this cop, be married to a convicted felon? His wife, ex-cop. And she was divulging allegedly all this information from the scope system. Go back in the other podcast and look at it. So they told me about it. I checked it, and that appears to be true.